The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
Oh, yeah, cats and kittens. Welcome back to The Commercial Break. I'm Bryan Green. This is my dear friend and the co-host of this show, Chris and Joy Hoadley. Best to you, Krissy.
Best to you, Bryan.
Best to you out there in the podcast universe. I say aliens because today, Krissy, we are aliens in a foreign land,
Yes,
unknown to us. We have been allowed outside of the four walls of my child's bedroom, my recycled child's bedroom, into the Odyssey Studios here in downtown Atlanta.
Exciting.
This is really cool, actually. I'm really enjoying this. This has been a lot of fun. We have been graciously welcomed by the folks at Odyssey into their studios in a very tall building.
Into the inner circle.
Into the inner circle.
We made it.
We made it. And we've got a bunch of people that are helping us here. Thank you to Slim and Kimberly, who have been so nice, and all the folks at Odyssey who have been so nice to help us out. But I like Slim. Slim's my new friend.
I know.
I'm going to have to interview him next.
In your mind.
In my mind. We'll talk to him about that later. Today, it's a TCB infomercial Tuesday live from the Odyssey Studios as we welcome in Courtney Michelle, social media influencer, comedian. Also, she's doing a one-woman comedy show now, Krissy. I think she started it in Nashville, and now she's taking it a few other places after a one-show successful run at Zanies.
Well, with a couple of friends, but yes, she's the mother of the show.
Yes, she is. She's been on social media for a long time, making people laugh. It's Courtney Michelle, I think, it's Courtney Michelle is her social media handles. You can also find all that information in the show notes, as we always do. I say we don't waste a lot of time here because I'd like to get to as much Courtney Michelle as possible. Plus, I don't know how long we have before they kick us out of the studios.
Agree. We better.
So we better
hurry it along.
We better put our foot on the gas pedal. So once again, live from I'm just trying to find the liners here because, we're in a different place. So there we go. I found it. Look at me.
Good.
I'm so good,
Good
Krissy. I'm glad I brought our own equipment because I would be running from one end of the room to the other had we not.
Purchasing cords off of Amazon as quickly as possible.
Oh, I already did that. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and then here with us for the first time ever, well, at least the first time ever since, actually, this is the first time.
Well, first time ever with Courtney Michelle and first time ever live in person.
With any guest. Gustavo.
Well,
but he's not somebody, he's not somebody you know. He's my brother-in-law. That's why he's allowed in my house. I wanted to bring people to the house, but Astrid said, no. I think she was worried about the paparazzi. And for us, mainly. The paparazzi that chases us around.
The attack of Blue.
Oh, God, what would we do with Blue? Or the kids?
Yeah.
Or the dirty diapers? Or the dishes? Or the laundry?
It's best to keep the mystery alive.
I know. We've eased Krissy into our chaos at our house. But would Courtney Michelle deal with that? Probably not. Nate Bargatze? I don't think so. Dusty Slay? Maybe Dusty Slay. Have you seen him? I mean, come on, let's get it on. Anyway, Courtney Michelle here with us live from the Odyssey Studios in downtown Atlanta, sitting right in front of us. We could probably touch her. I am not allowed to because Astrid's here. But
we'll give a little hug.
You can touch her. Okay. And Courtney is here with us now. We are live in the Odyssey Studios. Thank you, Courtney, for joining us.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I have a question because Krissy and we need to know, how do you use social media? How do you use social media?
Yeah, what is it?
What is it?
Oh,
how do you do it?
Unhealthily.
Is it an obsession?
I think it's is it an obsession? I think it's more of a defense mechanism and
interesting.
Very unhealthy tactic. I think it's a place that I go when I need validation or when I need to look at something. Look at someone hot. There's a lot of hot people on social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little pool of fishing for hotties. None of this is good. None of this is wonderful.
but you're admitting it. Like I think you seem self-aware about the reasons why you use social media. Is this how you started on what did it become were you obsessive about it at first and that's kind of how it grew, or
You know what's so funny? So I started off acting. Mm-hmm. Acting was like my baby. Still do it. It's still like my number one honey. But and back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, back in the day before TikTok, people would do Instagram videos.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But they were of a certain they were a very specific thing. There was like sound effects, and it was very big, and it was very broad, and I was like, I will never do that. And it was kind of, if you were an actor, it was kind of looked down upon, like these people who were acting in these little skits, like, could never be me.
Yeah.
And I don't know when it kind of changed, probably the pandemic, and people were like, I have so much
time
and energy and bravado and desperation. Where do I put it? So it just like broke that barrier. But I had always said, like, I'll never do like social media acting.
Yeah.
And it's literally the thing that pays my bills. And it's just the number one thing that I'm doing now, which is crazy. So no, I was never obsessed with it. And now I am very interested by it.
Is it because you got the feedback, like the feedback started happening, like you got that gratification, you got the feedback, now you have an audience, now people are reacting to what you're doing, that you start to like just kind of go down that rabbit hole. You're like, okay, now I'm just going to create, like people are reacting to it. This is something that I can do.
Yeah.
What is like the first big reel that, like, what is the thing that kind of like blew it up for you?
I think that it's been slow growth, which people would argue it hasn't, but for me, it feels like slow growth.
When did you first get on social media? When did you first started doing Instagram Reels? During the pandemic?
No, I started playing with stuff before the pandemic, like 2019. I got like a TikTok and started kind of just like fudging around, and then really committed to it during the pandemic. Yeah, like most people, it's the most cliche story.
Same with us starting a podcast.
There you go. Exactly. So many things birthed from this virus. But yeah, I think. And then what was the question?
It was just, so you started in 2019, but like, what kind of catches fire for you?
It's so funny. I did a video. I feel like this is always so boring to talk about. Like, I did this one video and it was like this, but I did do this dumb video. This was like before this was when TikTok was like from Musical.ly, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of all like lip syncing and very little. It was either like
dancing, lip syncing.
Yes, it was dancing, lip syncing, or like vines. It was very small and short. And music based, and so I did like a lip sync to some song, talking about being a whore. I don't remember what the song was. I think it was like a Nicki Minaj song about being a hoe, and I lip synced to it with some sort of text on top, whatever, and got like millions of views. This is when it was like really easy to go viral because there weren't a lot of people creating, a lot of people that were already on the platform by default. And so I got a couple million views, and I go, this is the most validation I've got from anything ever.
Right, I can't imagine.
I was like, could I forgive my parents? So it felt amazing. And I look back and I think I honestly, and I had done a few other ones that also went viral within a few months, right? And I go, if I didn't have that, I don't even know if I would be doing this, because it validated that I could do it before everybody else started doing it.
Sure.
And then once everyone else started doing it, I was like, well, I've been doing this.
Yeah, I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I just kept diving into it. And I think I didn't really catch a stride. I didn't really start making content that felt authentic to me and my sense of humor and what I like to do until probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And then just from there.
What kind of upbringing did you have?
Oh, you.
And
yeah, let's go there.
Nashville,
Like
right?
from
This is
Nashville.
a dramatic podcast?
This is a very dramatic podcast.
No. I'm not. I live in Nashville, but I'm from West Virginia originally.
Okay.
What kind of childhood did I have growing up? What a fantastic question. Well, as you can see, I'm hilarious, so it was awful.
Yeah.
Do you come from a long line of funny men?
We go back and back and back. I grew up poor, single mom, but like loved entertaining people. And I loved like musical theater and dancing and all those things. So always a big ham, only child. Always a big ham, no father figure, so like really slutty, just like all of the cliches.
Yeah.
And then I went to college in like the same town I grew up in. Was like, I gotta get out of here. Went to Miami, and I had literally gone to spring break in Miami. I never left West Virginia, really, besides going to like the beach once or twice. And I was like, I want to live somewhere else. And I'd gone to spring break in Miami, and I go, that's a place to live.
That's it. I know that place.
I know that place.
That's the place I know second best.
Exactly. But truly. At that point. So I moved to Miami, and which was a total shock.
Wow, from West Virginia to Miami.
Yeah.
That is completely different.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
It was
good for you though to have the courage to do it.
I think it was stupidity. I don't know that I was courageous at all.
Yeah, I think youth brings bravado.
It
It's
does.
like
It really does.
it's
Yeah.
a great adventure. At my age, at least, a great adventure is like, going to bed after 11:30 at night now, because I know that there are ramifications, but when you're young, there's a great sense of like, oh my gosh, there's freedom and adventure, and I can go down there and start a new life for myself. You get to a certain age and you realize it's never that easy, right? It's never that easy.
And it's never that thing.
It's
right?
never that
And
easy.
I
Never scratches the itch.
No, never.
No.
I'm always so itchy. I had just
Me too.
so itchy.
Yeah, so itchy.
I had just gotten dumped by my first real boyfriend in college, and I think that was like I romanticized leaving this town,
Right.
which is so crazy because he also went to Florida. But I was like, I'm gonna leave and go to
Show
Miami.
him.
Yes, and
Yeah.
just be a brand new person,
Yeah.
rediscover myself or whatever. And I mean, it was definitely a self-discovery because I threw myself into a city that I had no business being in. And at 22, I was the poorest person in that city. I was driving like a 1998 Saab. I mean, it was crazy. I pull up to valets and they'd be like,
Right.
"You can't be serious.
Yeah.
We actually can't."
You can make $200,000 a year and be the poorest person in Miami.
That's
I mean,
so
honestly,
true.
there are parts of
It's-
Miami that are just dripping in wealth and international wealth, not
Yes.
like
Yeah,
not
exactly.
like U.S. wealth, like my daddy owns a siding company, kind of wealth. It's
Yes.
like Saudi Arabian prince kind of wealth,
Yes.
or Venezuelan oligarch kind
Yes,
of wealth. Yeah.
incomprehensible wealth
Yeah.
in Miami,
Yeah.
and like showing it on your hands. I mean, it was crazy. But anyways, I moved down there again, super poor. I did marketing for a commercial real estate firm. I started doing bottle service on the weekends because I
Yeah,
literally couldn't pay my
that's
rent.
What you have to do.
And I had met a guy who did background work for like film and TV. I
Oh,
was like,
interesting.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I thought that those were just like people that were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gave me his like agent's information for this thing, and I started acting. And I think, thank God, because like I don't know what path I was going down in Miami. It was not a great one.
Right.
But I was like, oh, I think I love this thing. This reminds me of like the musical theater and the dancing and the bands that I started with my friends growing up, but as an industry.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I feel the same way, but we're at a job, which is
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with just the entertainment industry. And then I moved to LA and did LA for 6 years, and then went to Nashville during the pandemic. And that's kind of when like the social media part of it kicked in.
You were acting in L.A.?
I was acting in LA, correct?
Did you get it? Like, can you tell, is there any specific things that we could find you in?
Absolutely not.
No, really. You were just like a background actor.
I mean,
LA
I did.
is such a fucking hard town. It's I've only
is.
spent time there briefly, right? But it feels very transactional to me
Yeah.
in so many ways, like Miami, but in a different way, right? And I think it's a very hard town to be in if you're a creator. I don't know, but I have people I know that people that live there, and you can either make it or most people break it, right? It's just
Yeah.
a very difficult town to be in.
It is. I love LA. I miss it all the time. I think what I loved about LA is that everybody is chasing a dream, and that is such a contagious energy. I think inherently in that dynamic, there will be people who are so desperate for their dream that they aren't able to make authentic relationships. They aren't able to like have a conversation with you that doesn't involve that. It takes up all of their
Brain
space,
power.
their brain
Yeah.
power,
Yeah.
and where Miami was about money and wealth and power, LA was similar, but it was more about how can you make my dreams come true.
It was
And
aspirational and transactional at the same time.
It was a two for
Yes,
one.
it was a
Correct,
2 for 1.
Correct.
It's like one big networking meeting, I feel like, in LA. When I've spent time there, like with people who live there, right? It
Yes.
feels like one big networking meeting. It's always an opportunity to do the next thing.
Well,
to
and
be the next
Nashville
person.
can actually be the same way too for the music industry. I lived in Nashville for 5 years, and not for music, but I saw a lot of that same type of thing with the LA and acting. Nashville
Yes.
was for music.
Yeah, I think that's why I like Nashville. I'm like okay being there.
Yeah.
Because again, I do kind of miss, while it's annoying to go to a party, every party in LA, you start off by being introduced as to what you have to offer.
Yeah.
It's always like, this is Cassie, and she was just.
She's a line producer on the newest, greatest ABC flop.
Yes, or she's blah, 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 blah's daughter, or she's blah, 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 blah's agent, or she knows blah, blah, blah's agent. So it's always like that's how you're introduced, which is crazy, and I hate it. And I shouldn't say everywhere, just like it happens so much that it becomes a shtick in itself. But I just do love that there's so much passion that it kind of, again, it's contagious, and there's so much charisma in a place.
It's infectious.
It is kind of infectious.
Yeah.
And I feel like my ability to like banter with people, my ability to just like talk about a little bit more deeper things did tend to happen in LA because people were in the arts. But what I do love also about Nashville is because of the music, it is also a dreamer city.
Oh, very much.
So there is that energy. And while it's not my dream, it's still a contagious energy as well.
Sure.
So I've found, and it's like a huge entertainment industry coming to Nashville. I shouldn't say huge. There's like bigger than you would
Right.
think.
It's having a
There's
moment.
something there.
It's having a moment.
It
And
really
it has
is.
been for like the last 10 years, but it feels like
Yeah,
it's
well, the
reached.
show Nashville was pretty big and bringing a lot of that to that town.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, at least on an outsider looking in, it feels like it's reached a fevered pitch around Nashville. Everybody has
Well,
a
Jack
bar
White's
there.
got his,
Jack White,
his
Kid
studio.
Rock. Everybody's got something going on in Nashville, which up until 10 years ago was a relatively small town, like a tertiary city that people knew about because there's always been country music there. But now it's very cosmopolitan. It's a cosmopolitan
It's
in a
grown
weird
lot.
way. Yeah.
Yes, which I appreciate for the good
Exactly.
restaurants, and I appreciate for the cool scene.
It's got a lot going on.
Not the traffic, but besides that, it's been lovely.
You have a Kid Rock there. You have a Kid Rock restaurant there.
We have a Kid Rock restaurant.
How
bar.
lucky are you?
I would say other things make me luckier than that.
Yeah.
It is funny how not incestuous, maybe like insular it becomes, because I was talking to my friend. I did like a commercial with this like country music artist, and I was talking to my friend yesterday here about it, and he was like, "Who is that?" And I go, "Oh, that's right. Like people outside of Nashville don't maybe know country music the way that I do because I've lived there for 5 years now."
Right, right.
And it becomes kind of it's the industry. So it kind of becomes, you put these people on pedestals just by proxy, which is so fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. So I'm in the 3 minutes that I've known you, I've already dissected your entire life. And
Tell me, fix me.
I get the sense that single mother, no father figure around, you found some solace and probably some validation and some gratification in being kind of the center of attention in a creative way. And that just came to you easily. Like, is that true? It's like, I liked being the ham and hamming it up and having that being able to create and have people pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Getting some feedback around that felt good to you. For me too. Right?
Yeah.
For me
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
So this is, I'm speaking one to another.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is
yeah.
a hole in my soul, which I fill
Glorious.
with the laughter around me or the laughter that I create or the things that I create. I
Right.
find great comfort in that. And I think it's a gift and a curse at the same time sometimes. And I traveled to great lengths in my head and outside my head to fill that hole in a lot of ways. But not everybody is funny at the same time. And you're funny. Like a lot of people are that way, but they're just not funny. They just they come off corny and kind of weird. Like they're pining for your attention, right? Needy almost. But you're not that way. You have a thing. You've got a thing and people resonate with that. Doesn't that feel good to you? Like,
It feels fucking amazing. What do you mean?
hundreds
Well,
of
yeah, and you're
thousands
making
of
money.
people. You're making
and you're making money
money
from it. Yeah.
It feels incredible.
Yeah.
It feels good when I let it feel good. It feels good when I'm not comparing it to what someone else has or what I should have or whatever. Right? Like
I could see that.
That's when it gets murky.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, to answer your question, yes, I was looking. Well, and it's all the things. Not to get into my memoir yet.
You're doing it right here on the commercial break. We're breaking news.
Memoir scoop.
Yeah.
But I think it was, again, dad wasn't around, and then mom was like always like looking for love, so she was always like dating new guys and blah blah blah, and she was a great mom. She crushed it. But I think I was just like always looking for attention, so we have that built in. I was kind of like the weird friend, I think by default, because we didn't have a lot of money in a town that had a lot of money. So I felt kind of like I was wearing weird clothes and I didn't have like the things that other kids had. So weird by default. I had my friends were all very hot too. And I like took a little bit. So all of those things kind of
grew into it.
I grew into all of the things. But I think all that kind of equated into me trying to find something else besides looking cool, being cute, having the right like cheerleading moves or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was entertaining. So I would be like the goofy, the funny friend who was like, when I was little, it was like, shticks. It was like falling or like playing dumb it was early 2000s. So I was like,
Right.
I'll be the dumb blonde. That was the hit thing back then. And then I think as I got older, it migrated into comedy that I'm more familiar with now, which was like jokes and like telling stories and like the idea of being with a bunch of people and holding court about a story that I went through. And that really started feeling very fulfilling. And then I was able to, transition it into like some semblance of a career.
Well, because now you've taken that kind of on the road too, right? By doing some shows.
Yeah. We're doing
live shows.
Yeah, we're doing a live show, which is I still like struggle to even define what it is.
Yeah, what? Explain, because I couldn't find much. Right, there was you had some reels and stuff like that, but I couldn't find much. But explain what how do you transition from funny person being
on
able
the
to,
internet
on the internet, multiple takes, edits, cuts, and all that stuff, to then doing it live? That's a brave thing to do.
Again, probably stupid more than anything. I don't know. Again, I don't feel bad. I feel like I'm just like falling and flailing. But I think this show, which again, we've done a great job marketing it since no one knows what it is, I guess. But it's a live show. It's basically a bunch of different sketches that kind of tell one story about girlhood.
Okay.
Oh.
And what I wanted to do was, I feel like a lot of the videos that I do online are geared towards all people, but specifically like I kind of make videos for like what I would want to see.
Sure.
And so what me as a woman of a certain age would want to see and what she relates to, and whether it's like people that annoy you, whether it's like situations that are embarrassing or whatever. But it's almost like kind of me being a woman and what that looks like, that I was like, how do I do that about a trajectory? Like, how can I talk about myself more and in a different vehicle and make people even more obsessed with me and be even more narcissistic? Let's try it. Let's try doing it live. And
fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we're doing it live. And that's what we did. So we did. I've been writing it I started writing it like last spring with my friend Ollie, and kind of like using him as a backboard, like constantly like, is this funny? Is this relatable? Is this stupid? And then wrote this show about girlhood. And it's a bunch of different sketches, and there's like music in it, and there's like videos in it, but it's not really any characters that I do online. It's all different stuff.
Yeah.
But it's very funny and goofy and light, but it also like tackles my relationship with my mom and my relationship with like dating and my relationship to like girlfriends and all that stuff, in a very light, fun, very millennial way. It's very like nostalgic.
Is your relationship? I'm gonna put a pin there, and I'm gonna ask you another question about doing stuff live. Is your relationship with your mother complicated?
Yeah.
I mean, all relationships with mothers are complicated.
Yeah.
That's like a stupid question, right?
Yeah.
But is it like, are you guys good friends?
It's so funny. She just came and stayed with me for 3 weeks. So
3 weeks.
I am fresh off of
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think growing up, my mom didn't have a great mother figure growing up either.
Yeah.
So she was kind of figuring out as she went. Most people are.
Yeah,
But-
exactly. There's no rule.
Yeah.
There's no
Book.
rule.
Motherhood, parenting is, there's no rule book. And
Yes.
you're literally feeling it out minute by minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she definitely did the best she could, and she had some great moments in there, some rock star moments. And I put her through it some moments as well. So always give her kudos for that. And I think now getting older, I feel like we go through these like phases with our parents.
Sure.
Where they're like, your mother, and then you start seeing flaws and you start resenting them and you start blaming them for everything. And now I'm in this phase of seeing her as a person, and you relate?
One of the most wise things that I ever read. I had a complicated relationship with both of my parents, and my mother was mentally ill. My father was emotionally unavailable, like a lot of fathers of people my age were because they just grew up with World War II fathers or Vietnam or Korean War fathers who were a different breed.
Yeah.
There was no PTSD. They just stoically, silently, and sometimes violently took it, right?
Yeah.
And then they sent that on to their children. And so there's this softening of parenting going on as you go through time in some cultures.
Yeah.
But one of the wisest things that I read as I was trying to reconcile with my own childhood was a guy named Ram Dass who wrote that the most important thing that a child can ever do is recognize that the words mother and father are simply words. There's no meaning behind that. They're words. They are human. They are flawed. They are violent and ugly and loving, and they are as complicated as you are. They are not here to save you. They are not here to be you. They are not here to tell you what to do. They are just people. You were born to them, and hopefully they will give you some good guidance along the way, but not everybody gets that. And so that was like a very powerful moment when I let go of the word mom and dad, because then I could look at them for who they were, loving people who did the best they could in the circumstances that they had and the information that they had in that moment, which could have just been shitty information, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not all, we're human. We know it's kind of a complicated thing. So when you say that, I recognize that. I hear what you're saying. That's a powerful thing to do. Yeah.
I think because I'm single and I've been, I think a lot on like dating and how I've come to the conclusion for a while now that I tend to like fall for the idea of someone, right? Like, and it's these expectations that get built up and then let down, and it's like I'm doing all of it,
Right.
like there's
exactly.
there's shitty people, and I've been in shitty relationships or I've met shitty people, but a lot of it is the onus falls on me of building up an expectation for something that doesn't even exist or a person that doesn't exist. And I think
And they can't read your mind.
and they can't read your mind.
You know?
You have to communicate.
Yes.
As
So
gross
difficult.
as it feels,
Yeah, so
know.
difficult.
it sucks. But I think it's the same thing with, I think the strife that I feel towards my parents comes from the same beast.
Yeah.
I think if I really look at all of the resentment or ill feelings that I have towards either of my parents, the large majority, I could sit here and I can name, well, she did this and he did this and blah, 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 blah. But I think ultimately it's the expectation of what I think a mother should be and expectation of what I think a father should be and how they've let me down. When really
Right.
I've fallen in love with a person that never existed. And I think that has been a huge thing for me as I've gotten older. I'm like in my 30s, I shouldn't need my mother and father to love, to like show their love for me or to like take care of me or to validate me in any way. And one side of that is I think there always is a tether. Yes, mother and father they're just words.
Yeah.
But there also is like a weird tether that
It's
you
your inner
feel
child.
no
It's
matter what.
always looking for
Of
mom and dad.
course.
Yeah.
It will always be there.
Always,
So
yeah.
I think recognizing that that's maybe where something is coming from. And then is this a reasonable expectation of a person whose story you know?
Yeah.
And who was actually, like, I had to forgive. We're getting so deep.
I know.
Oh my God.
It's like, this is so deep.
This is crazy. But I had to like forgive my father a long time ago after
Yeah.
learning about his childhood. And I was like, homeboy isn't capable of loving me in the way
you
that
have
Some people
to
aren't.
I need.
forgive.
And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we gotta let him go.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah, expectations, we sow the seed of our own disappointment with expectations, right? That's just it. But it's really hard not to do that. And also when it comes to our mother and father, we can let the words go, but the inner child always still needs mommy and daddy. And I think will till the day that we die, we always need mommy and daddy. It's just the way that it is. And we look for that in the people and the things around us. And we look for that in the validation on social media or with your spouse or with your loved one or whoever it is. Okay. Let's lighten it up for a little bit.
Oh, okay, sure.
We'll go back and forth. We'll oscillate in the conversation.
You don't want to do more trauma?
Oh, we're going to do more trauma. I'm keeping you here for 3 hours. This
Perfect.
This is a therapy session that your mom ordered. It's not a podcast.
Great. I honestly wouldn't put it past her. That would be great.
Do you find that doing live shows are more or less interesting to you than creating on?
How many have you done so
Yeah,
far?
how many are in the bag?
For this show that
Yeah.
we're touring with, one.
Okay.
One.
We've done one show
Yeah.
in Nashville.
At Zany's?
I saw that.
Yeah, when it sold out.
Yes, I saw that it was sold out
Congratulations.
too. That's great. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it was just like friends and
but
people.
still,
Like,
Who
hey,
cares?
Yeah.
Whatever,
The,
so
the
counts.
promoter doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But yes, we did one show just to kind of try it out. And we're like, if this goes well, then maybe we'll see what
Take it on the road.
we can do with it. Yeah. And I will answer your question, but I will also say that I left that show because again, this became my baby.
Yeah.
Like not only is it something that I wrote from scratch, that I like brought these lovely, like some of my favorite human beings are also involved in this. It's me and 2 other people who kind of like played characters around me.
Yeah.
Then we have like an incredible piano player. And I like brought these people into this like thing to try to like like milk what I know they can give, and it just felt like it was so precious to me.
Interesting.
And we did the show. Well, first I'll say we did a rehearsal of the show for a few people, and it was okay, but there was like very little laughing. Okay. And then we did a tech rehearsal, like right before the show, and I was kind of like watching the people out in the audience to see if I could get any not even a huff of air off the nose.
Oh no!
And I go, all right, this is gonna be awful.
This is gonna be terrible.
I'm gonna embarrass myself in front of everyone that I know. And so then we did the show, and there were more laughs than I could have. They were laughing at jokes that I was like, I didn't realize that was a joke, but go off. And just like the roars of applause when people were crying, people had such great compliments about it. I think it just like it's an energy thing. I think it just is when you do something live, you just need a lot of people.
Yeah,
like you need that energy of the crowd around you in order to feel safe, giggling and laughing. So I left that show. I remember walking off stage, like feeling that I've never felt before, which is because again, I've done stage stuff, but this is my baby. So it felt very vulnerable. And I was like, okay, I'm going to either throw up or cry or potentially shit my pants. Like there's a lot of stuff happening in my stomach. Yeah. But I couldn't stop like, I was just like laughing for no reason. It was the most euphoric, crazy feeling having like immediately walking off that stage that I was like, oh fuck. Like this is the thing. I think this is the thing I'm going to
wonderful.
end up doing a lot of. And so the second we had a chance to tour with it, I was like, wow, we have to.
We have said this a lot. I've been saying this probably since we started podcasting, is that podcasting is kind of a lonely venture in some ways. I mean, I'm lucky to have Krissy in the room with me, right?
Yeah.
If she wasn't there, I don't know. I mean, I'd just be talking to myself, and that probably no one wants to hear that. My wife's made me start the podcast, so I stopped talking to her. But it's a lonely venture because there's no instant feedback. There's like no reaction.
Yeah.
If people react, it's like I'll record, and then 3 days later when it publishes, somebody might text us or email us, oh, great show or whatever. There's no instant feedback. And while that feedback is great, it's not instant. There's no reaction besides what's going on in the room.
Yeah.
So, we've had people come to us and, do the show, do it live. And we actually had plans to do a live show, and then I got sick and I had to have surgery. But that beside the point, like my greatest fear was what you said about the first 2 versions of that, is that we're going to get up and we're going to do this show, and all the places where we think there's going to be laughs, it's literally going to be dead silence, and it's just going to be an embarrassment of our creation. And I don't know if I want to hear my baby get shit on, right? Because this is my baby. I mean, I imagine when you do social media, I don't know what your process is, but I imagine I have a seed of an idea. Observationally, I find something funny.
Yeah.
And then you have a format, right? I've watched a lot of your reels, and you have kind of a format, right?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Courtney, and this is my impression of, right? Or whatever it happens to be. We don't have a format necessarily. We just get on here and start spitting shit and hoping that it's funny. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. But taking that and putting that into something like malleable, like that has thematically makes sense, was really difficult.
Yeah.
And we did figure it out. We eventually figured out something, but we'll get back to it. Still nerve-wracking to get up on stage. When you were doing stand-up, did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I blacked out every time. It was so scary.
nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I have really bad performance anxiety, so that whole part of it was. I had a show 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And just getting up, it was like there was like 20 people there.
Yeah.
Because I was an opener the people are like trickling in very slowly.
Yeah.
But still, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this thing?
I can only imagine.
And then I don't know. I think you go into like autopilot or something. The first laugh, the first joke that hits, or the first thing that hits, whatever it may be, really carries you.
It's
Okay,
nourishment.
yeah.
It really carries
breaks
you.
the ice.
And
yeah.
I feel really bad for people who, like, it takes them a second to get to that first joke because you're just kind of like floundering.
Right.
And I'm sure it happens all the time with stand-up or comedians in general.
My wife and I went and saw Pete Davidson at
Oh.
he was breaking in new material. So he's in a club
Yeah.
probably a little bit bigger than this. And I'm not shitting you. It's tiny. And he's got 3 comedians that come on in front, right? And I don't know any of them. But the first guy who comes on, the crowd is just not with him. They there's a lot of chatter going on in the room and he's trying to settle everybody down a little bit. But it was the 15 minutes of the most unimpressive comedy I've ever seen. He just started insulting people after a while, and that kind of got some like he went to insult, right? And
Right.
some people laughed about it, but honestly, there were very few laughs, and I felt terrible for the guy
Yeah.
because I was like, "You're not very funny. You're not being very funny."
Yeah.
But still, it's got to be terrible to be up on stage and no one's fucking laughing at you, and this is your job. Your only job is to make people laugh, and you haven't gotten one. It's got to feel awful. Conversely,
Yeah.
when you're hot and you get the crowd growing, that's got to feel amazing. That's got to be something that really just puts fuel in your tank.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I haven't done it enough I haven't bombed yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully none of these live shows will, but you never know. They could.
Part of the experience.
It's part of the
It's part of the
experience.
experience.
Yeah, you're not going to learn unless you bomb, right?
It
Yeah.
really is. But yeah, I can't even imagine like getting up there and not. I'm such a people pleaser again that I'd
Yeah.
be like, oh my god, I'm not giving you what you want.
Yeah.
On top of like me feeling like shit, I'm not giving you what you want. You feel like shit. I'm so sorry. Oh,
Do
it's
you?
brutal.
What do you remember being funny as a kid? Like, what's the first thing you remember being funny as a kid? Television show, movie, Weird Al Yankovic? I don't know. I like to ask this of people.
That's a great question. I hate people say that's a great question too, but that is a great question. What do I remember?
And sometimes
being
it's hard to
funny?
think of like,
Yeah.
the
Like
very
uncle
first
making a
thing.
joke. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd like to find out what do people remember lighting that fire for comedy, right? Oh my God, that's funny. I admire
Yeah.
that. I wish I could do that.
You know, it's funny. I had an interview last week and they asked me, like, who are my, like, early comedy mentors?
Mm.
And I was like, I mean, we didn't watch stand-up in my house. I didn't really know what stand-up was until
I
a
didn't
lot
either.
older.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we didn't watch SNL. We would watch, like, ABC sitcoms.
Yeah.
Like, my mom loved Reba, or,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
those kind of shows, or King of the Hill, is that the other one? Whatever,
King
like,
of
those...
the, King of Queens.
King of Queens,
King
yeah,
of
like
Queens.
those
Yeah.
shows that we watched like during dinner or whatever, and that was our comedy.
Sure.
And I think as I got older, even actually when I was young, I think I was really drawn to the person in the room who was commanding the room and had control over the people of the room with comedy.
Yeah.
Like their ability to like mainly ease the tension
Sure.
in the room. Like it just felt like such a superpower.
Yeah.
To be able to have the right timing to make someone laugh at a funeral,
Yeah.
or to, when we're all sitting around eating dinner, just to like add that reprieve for a moment, especially if something's heavy or whatever.
Yeah, it helps.
Those people in my life growing up, and sometimes it was like kids in school, like even like kids my own age who were just really funny. I can like think of a few in my head of just like some boys and girls who were just like, they had that cadence and they made me feel good. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
So it was more real people in my life that I could viscerally feel that feeling from them than like,
Any kind of like
Bill
George
Murray-
Carlin.
Yes,
at
exactly,
the, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It was more what I was experiencing than what I was seeing. And then as I got older, I started really appreciating more comedy. And I'm just now like learning about older comedians and
Yeah.
appreciating older comedians and trying to like watch more stand up because it wasn't a part of my experience for a while.
We watched a lot of SNL. My dad was a big fan of SNL, and he was remarkably into MTV when it came out. So there was like, occasionally there would be like a comedian who would be on MTV as a guest VJ or whatever, and you would see them do a couple minutes of material. And I remember getting into stand-up comedy, and you were probably too young for this, but we remember when Comedy Central first came on, it was clips of stand-up comedians doing a bit. So like 2 or 3 minutes, like set up, punchline. Like like MTV used to play videos back to back to back, no commercials, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up
Yeah.
for days on end. No commercials. Just like that was it. They were just putting stand-up comedians, not doing full shows, doing just one joke, and they would just run it, and they would put their name at the bottom with the name of the joke, like whoever Kevin Nealon talks about a cat or whatever it was. And I remember looking at that, thinking that that's I'm laughing at this, and my dad is too. It's a very noble thing that they're doing. They're getting up there and making a whole bunch of people laugh.
Yeah.
It's the first time I remember thinking that comedy, stand-up comedy specifically, was a noble profession. They were giving a gift to people. Like, even at my young age, I remember thinking, wow, those, you're taking a break there. You're getting relief from whatever it is that's going on in your life. So I think it's very noble. And now I think social media is just another way to convey this kind of nobility, this gift.
Sure.
And a lot of people do it poorly. I think you're doing it very well. A lot of people do it poorly.
I mean, sometimes
Courtney.
I do it poorly too.
Well, but you put out so much content. There's going to be a few
hopefully-
stinkers.
It's got to get
Yeah,
lost
we're
in
the
there.
same.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
every show is like
No, 900
amazing.
shows. Yeah, 9 of the shows I think
Yeah.
are probably listenable out of the 900.
That's fair.
We're 1%.
Yeah, that's a great ratio.
Do you have trouble with any followers on social media when you have this big of a following?
Oh, that's a good question.
Do I have trouble with followers?
Do you have any trouble with followers? And ones
like
that you
people
want to
being mean?
discuss? People just being like stalkers, weirdos, people being mean. I'm not sure there are people being mean. I'm sure you have people that come out of the woodwork and just say stupid shit. I can imagine his
Yeah.
name is Bob. And he's 52.
Do you read the comments?
Yeah,
Bob.
it's
Do you
always
read
Bob.
the comments? I
I
guess
kinda-
so. No.
Yeah, it kind of depends on where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried not to do my DMs because every time I do, I'm doing it for validation, and then
Yeah.
it feels empty. So I'm like, let's just not do it unless I'm asking for feedback on something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like when we were like pitching the shows, I was like, where should we go? I will read those DMs, or if I'm talking about something that's really important to me that I'm going through, like I went off birth control and I posted a lot about that just to kind of see what other people are doing for
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
symptoms or whatever. But besides that, I try to see, like within the first like hour or two of posting, I can kind of tell from the comments whether or not something is
Hitting.
relatable,
Yeah.
or whether some people are just like, oh, it's a fine video.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, oh, this is funny because it's supposed to be funny.
It's funny
Right.
because it's supposed to be funny and because you put it up there and because I like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, but I can like, there's like people will like quote certain things, or I'll
Yeah.
take note of what they're relating to and where they're at. Like sometimes a lot of the characters that I do, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes. A lot of the characters that I do are like you can either they can be perceived as, you can either relate to them or you can hate them.
Yes.
And I always find it so curious how many people, like the ratio of people who hate this person versus the ratio of people who are this person, or who feel like this is a very relatable thing versus like they hate when this thing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like a fascinating human psyche
It
thing.
is. Yeah.
And moving forward, I try to make it even more ambiguous because the more people, because if I make it seem like it's more relatable, then the people who hate the person aren't gonna get anything from it,
Sure.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have issues with followers. I don't think I'm like famous enough. I like you see like famous people get it all the time. I'm like, I guess I'm not there.
I wish I had that.
I know. I'm like, feel free to like
I know.
start hate
I'm
campaigns.
like, I wish I had one stalker, because if I had one stalker, just one, then
just one guy at my door.
That would be your validation, Brian.
Yes.
to
And
really solidify.
we
it.
have weird people that are contacting us,
Sure,
but I go,
sure.
does this qualify as like fame, or does this just qualify as like a couple of the girls that I dated in high school? That were, you know what I'm saying?
Is it just math at that point? Like,
yeah.
of course, there's going to be at least a few. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I could be anybody, and they would be that crazy,
Sure,
right?
sure,
Are they
sure.
crazy about Brian and Krissy, or are they just crazy in general? I'm
It's a
waiting for that
fair question.
TCB stalker. That's what I want.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But here's what's interesting is that, we get pitched a lot of people. Hey, come on the show, come on the show, come on the show. One of the things that we do, that Astrid often will do, is you go to someone's social media and you see who follows them. Like who of our guests or the people that we enjoy follow them. And you have a lot of people,
Oh,
famous
really?
people, that follow you. Yes, that's correct.
Who? Name them.
I don't know. Astrid, who are they? Hannah Burner.
Oh, we love Hannah.
Yeah, we love Hannah.
Hannah was
too.
one of our first interviews.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she would never agree to do it a second time. But I mean,
Oh, she was great.
She was great.
She
we
loves
loved
it. And her
Hannah.
husband.
Her
is great
husband,
too.
Des
Des.
Bishop, yeah, has been on our show a couple times
Yeah.
too. Gianmarco Sorosy, I think, follows you too, if I'm not mistaken. Heather McMahon maybe follows you.
She goes, no.
No? Oh, I'm sorry. You can talk. Feel free. Go ahead.
I'll read-
I'll
saying, "Don't talk to
repeat what
me."
you're saying. if what you're saying makes me look good, I'll repeat it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I noticed the same thing with quite a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
Followed you.
So there you
That's
go.
the
Look at that.
nicest.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Well, I think it's a compliment. And then you say, well, this person is interesting to the people that we know and the people we've had on the show. So they're interesting to us, right? They
Yeah.
must be interesting to us. And they weren't wrong, by
Oh,
the way.
I gotta watch who I follow then, I guess. It is funny like how that becomes a little bit of a
A
stamp
game.
of approval
Thing.
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like this person.
Yes. We don't have a ton of followers, but some of the people that follow us, I think feel good to me. Like the people who come on our show and we like and we have a good time with, they say it's like I don't want to say it is some sort of validation, but then it's also like a little bit of social credit. Like, hey, I
Yeah.
liked you. I'm going to follow you and see what you're up to.
Yeah.
Down the road. Now, question about one of your social media posts.
Oh no.
I am one of the guys who does that whole Theo Von Bro pose when you
Oh,
this
you
whole-
pop out the two
yeah,
fingers
I
or the
pop
single
out-
finger?
I don't know what I do. But I do something stupid with my hands. I put them in my pocket.
Yeah, right.
Why do we do that?
Because you're insecure about what to do with your hands.
Yeah.
Because I'm insecure in general about taking photographs. I think that's what it is.
I mean, but girls do we'll do a squat
Yes.
or we'll do like a hands on
The,
hip.
Yeah.
This.
No one can take a photo without.
No, you have to do something with your
Thinking about
hands.
it.
Otherwise, they're just sitting. They're just
Yes. Yes.
limp and sitting there.
I
Yeah, you're a
think
noodle.
from the age of, let's say, 18 to maybe 26 or 27, I think there might be 3 known photographs of me. I avoided at all costs
You've said
any
that.
photograph. And that's not even a joke. I do have some I have some those disposable cameras that I haven't gotten, taken to the film place yet. And I'm sure there's some photographs in there. But I think I missed that generation of people who had phones cameras directly in their hands at all times. Where a lot of the people I know are so used to taking photographs all the time, the selfies and all that. So I feel very uncomfortable when someone, even after all the photographs that have been taken for the commercial break, I still feel uncomfortable about it. It doesn't make me feel great.
Well, are you uncomfortable about the photo, or are you, when you're taking the photo, thinking about how this is going to be perceived? Like, because me, I
Both.
jump immediately to
Yeah.
okay, if my worst enemy saw this, would they have something to actually make fun of?
Yeah.
It's very subconscious.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what permeates whenever you're doing anything. It also feels so like taking a photo of yourself, having someone take a photo of you.
Feels so weird.
It feels so self-indulgent.
Yes.
It's literally how we tell time. It's been
Yeah.
since the dawn of eras.
Yeah.
We've been taking note of the things that we do in some way,
It's
shape,
true.
or form. This is our versus our society's version of just like chronicling.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we are so ashamed of it. Which
I
is
know. It's
fascinating.
so weird. Yeah, you're right about that. Like people are putting like pictures of themselves on, the caves and the cavemans. And it's a way of denoting that moment in time,
Yes.
our age, our moment, our history. We're essentially, and now we can chronicle every moment of our lives. And I once heard a Buddhist monk say, there's no yesterday, there's no tomorrow. It's this, and that's it. You get one day, right? That's it. Forget about that. Forget about this. It's all this. Sounds nice in theory, but we're human. Like I'm not a
Yeah.
Buddhist monk. I'm a dude, right? And
Yeah. For them, there's only today.
Yeah, for them,
Yeah.
there's only
They
today
have their
because
soup and they're
they've
good
been,
to
yeah. Run down and grab some grains of rice and hand it to
Exactly.
your neighbor. But for me, I got to take fucking photographs for the podcast. It
Yeah.
just makes me feel so uncomfortable. But that was an absolutely relatable post because I see every one of the guys on my Instagram, I see them all making that stupid same fucking pose. And I'm like,
Yes.
she's so right about that. Guys don't know what to do with themselves when it comes to a photograph. We just don't. We're-
Nobody does. But I think we're better about this, but I think especially when I was growing up, and I'm sure when you guys were like, it does feel, taking a photo feels vain. It
Yes.
feels vapid. It
Yes.
shouldn't. Again, we have to, like, it really cements like a time, but it just feels vapid no matter what. But I think for some reason, like women in society were almost given permission to feel a little more
Self-conscious.
no to
Feel a
to
little
be
bit
a little
more
more
vain.
vain.
Yeah.
I think we're given. I think for men, they're given less rope to
Yeah.
feel
That's
that
true.
vanity.
Yeah.
And so I think it probably compounds when you're taking a photo and you're like, all right, how do I make this seem like the most casual? I don't give a shit. I'm just going to do this thing with my hands, as opposed to making it look like I care by posing.
Yeah.
Or I think women get away with it.
Right.
It's all, we all have the same insecurity, but
Sometimes I wish I could tap into a little bit of my gay and like pop out a hip. You know what I'm saying?
tap in your gay, pop out
out
a hip.
and just get. If I could tap into a little bit more of my gay, then I think I'd be better.
Just
picture taking.
practice.
If we could all tap into a
A little bit more of our
gay,
gay.
Yes.
I think we'd be
Hey,
happier.
Listen, what? So now, where are you going to go with the show? What's the next?
You're
where
here in
the next
Atlanta
you're
coming
here?
up, right?
Yes, we're coming to Atlanta.
Yes, City
Oh.
Winery.
I think this will come out before. When will this come out?
In a couple weeks.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I
Your
think we're-
September for the City Winery? I
Yes, so we're
think?
doing
Okay.
September
Yep.
City Winery. Let's see if I know the dates
Congratulations. That's a
quick.
great venue.
That's a great venue.
I know,
It's right
I
down the
just-
street from where I live.
I
so.
just saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's a gorgeous venue. I'm a little like scared to fill it up.
Big.
It's
It's
so
big.
big.
We'll come. We'll come see
There's
you.
a ton of
Yeah.
people, yeah. And
Yeah,
there's
we'll
a
come
ton of
see
people in that area. That's a great new area with
Okay,
If it's
yeah.
at the
tons of
City
cool
Winery,
stuff.
some people are just going to show up because it's the City Winery.
That's what I'm- that's
you
what
know
I'm
what I'm saying?
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come for sure.
Okay. Oh my God, I love that. But yeah, so we're doing another show in Nashville, Atlanta, and then Chicago. We'll do Chicago and then Atlanta, Austin, LA, and then hoping to do maybe one or two other shows like later in the year. But
Fantastic.
it's a tiny
Congratulations.
tour, but
Yeah, no, but those are some big markets, though.
This is
to-
where
to
it
do
starts.
Yeah,
is
Like,
where it
you know,
starts.
this is the test.
the burner phones of the world and all that, all that stuff they started somewhere too in these small venues just doing that. And look now, I don't know, Madison Square Garden, where is she playing? I'm not even sure. Hannah's truly amazing, but this is how it all starts. And if you can prove that you can fill some seats, then the promoter goes to the next level, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
that's it. And you have the social media following to fill some of these places. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's the scary part about the promoters, though. They come to you. I don't know if you're working with a promoter. I'm assuming that
my manager does it all.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
just
So
relays
anyway,
it back.
the promoter comes to you and he says, "Hey, listen, here's 5 venues. Go see if you can sell tickets. And if you can sell tickets, then we'll be happy to give you a check and, you move on to the next one or whatever your deal is." But that's the scary part about it is you look at the numbers on your podcast or on your social media and you go, "Oh, yeah, I could definitely do that." But can I do that in one city on that particular night? Is a different question altogether, right?
And will people even want to, like, do people see me in a way that they're like, I want to see what she has to say in person?
Right.
Or are they like, no, she stays in my little square and she feels safe there? And I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm
Yeah,
hoping people
I
will be
can
like,
see
I want to at least see
people-
what it is.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I think this show, I didn't want to do like sketches from the internet in my live show. A lot of
think
people
that's
do that.
smart.
And that's great for them. And I think it's a great like one-to-one. People know
Right.
exactly what they're getting. This is not any characters I've done online. This is not
Okay.
anything really familiar to that. It's the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be relatable, hopefully. But I wanted to give something that was more and different in my brain, more and different than what people have seen before, so that I have the thing that I do online. I have who I am in this little box, and then I have this other thing that I have in front
Yeah.
of you, and I'm giving in two separate ways
I think that's a great strategy.
to an audience.
I think that's the smartest strategy because if you're doing the same thing you're doing online, the next time they come into town, they're going to go, I can just look at her social media.
Right. What's the
Right?
reason?
Yeah.
What's the reason
For
to
free.
get out?
Yeah.
But if you show range, right? I'm sure as an actor, it's always about range. If you show range and they say, "Oh, I got something completely unexpected," which was the same thing we ran into when we were doing our live shows. Do we give them what they're used to, which is an hour of the commercial break, brand new, or do we give them something completely different, or mix the two together?
Yeah.
And so make it familiar enough that that they know what they're doing. But then I think it's a very smart idea to do something different because then you have legs and you can run with it. The next time people will go, I didn't get what I expected and I
Yes.
liked it. And so now I'm going to go to the next one.
Yes.
So,
That's
okay.
So smart. So great.
this is our first live in-person interview with someone that we don't know. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
great.
I think you have been wonderful.
Yes, thank you for our
I
first
think you get
time.
an A+.
Guys, this was lovely.
I think you'll
Aw,
get an
thank
invite
you.
back. This is lovely. I'm glad this all worked out, that you got to come to the
Yeah,
Odyssey
this
Studios.
I
is
that you were
fun.
here.
So happy that this worked out and that we could do this. And I would love to come back. And thank you for having me.
Well, thank you,
all
and
of
good
the
luck
things.
to you. We're excited to see you again in September.
You guys have to come.
Yes.
We'll come in
You
May.
promise?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
It's
Court-
right down the street from me too.
Okay, good.
So
Courtney Michelle. I will put all of her links in the show notes, all the appropriate links down in her show notes. You can find her on social media. You can catch her live if you're in one of the lucky towns that gets to see her show. Thank you very much, Courtney. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much.
I think that went surprisingly well, Krissy.
I cannot believe how well that went.
And I
really
don't think I creeped
cannot.
her out once. I kept the cringe factor down to a 1.
You did a wonderful job
Thank
in
you.
person,
Thank you.
Brian. With Astrid watching. from
Yeah,
over
Astrid
there.
was without Astrid. Who knows what would have happened? Courtney Michelle was absolutely
Oh,
delightful.
lovely.
And I do have to say, I really enjoyed recording here, actually. All the people at Odyssey
Yeah.
have made it great, and this is a fantastic
It's
facility.
a professional studio.
Yeah. I just said to Astrid, I said, this is so much better than our studio at home, which she designed. So I'll be in the doghouse paying many husband points for that later on tonight. I'm sure I'll be doing a honeydew list very long
That's
tonight.
true.
Anyway, Courtney Michelle, she was wonderful.
Thank you
You know
to
what I've
Courtney.
noticed? I don't know why I do this, but I tend to go deep on a lot of our guests.
You do.
Why do I do that?
You're quoting
Isn't this a
Ram
comedy
Dass
show? I was quoting Ram
and the
Dass.
Buddhist monk.
I know. Buddhist monk, Ram Dass. And I'm not even sure it was
Digging
Ram
into her
Dass that said that.
childhood.
Yeah.
So you
how's
never-
your mother?
You
Yeah.
never know what you're gonna get.
I'm trying to get them to cry because I see that gets clicks on social media. That's what I'm doing. I want to be important, but I don't want to talk about politics because fuck politics.
Yeah.
Because we're all fucked and no one seems to care about
Right.
it. Anyway, Courtney Michelle is absolutely lovely. You can find her on social media. You can catch her live in Chicago, Austin, Nashville, Atlanta. I think she said Miami. LA, somewhere. Anyway, all that information is down in the show notes. We certainly would appreciate it if you would go and follow her and then check out her live show. I think we should go.
We're going.
We have a long list of shows to go to this fall with our guests, but we should try and make it to at least some of them.
Yeah.
Some people, we just tell them we're going to go to their show and hope that they give us free tickets. And then other people, we're going to go to their show. And I think Courtney might be one of them. What do you
I
think?
love that venue she's performing
Oh,
at
the
too.
City Winery is lovely. Lovely. I wish I drank still, because don't they sell wine there at the
They
winery?
sure do.
Okay, all right, there you go. That's the gig. 212-433-3TCB, 212-433-3822. Questions, comments, concerns, content ideas, we take them all right there. So many of you writing in about Pauly couch cushions.
Oh my God.
We'll get
What
back
a
to him.
character.
What a character. We'll get back to him. But if you have any comments or concerns or questions about this interview with Courtney and Michelle, let us know. We'll pass the message along to nobody. There you go. TCBpodcast.com. All the audio, all the video right there from one location and your free TCB sticker available only to you and 30,000 other people who are on a coupon site at The Commercial Break on Instagram, youtube.com/thecommercialbreak. For all the videos the same day they air here on the audio. Okay, Krissy, I guess that's all I can do for today.
I think so.
I'll tell you that I love you.
And I love you.
Best to you.
Best to
and
you.
best to you out there in the podcast universe. Until next time, Krissy and I will say, we do say, and we must say,
Goodbye.